And so his sons Carter and Chase. I imagine Carter's probably old enough that he'll remember it. I don't know if Chase is quite to that age. But yeah, we love a good, and I don't know about you guys, I didn't know that the lineup was happening. And so the lineup read rather with his sons coming into the locker room. And so as the game started, our photos start coming in from the great John Russell, our team photographer. And we started seeing photos of the kids in the room. And I was like, oh, we are going to have one adorable lineup read coming in a little bit here.
Welcome into the Predators official podcast. I'm Kara Hammer, along with Brooks Bratten and Max Herz. And guys, the last time I saw you, it was a whole calendar year back. We're here in January 2026. Our first podcast of the new year. And guys, you've been gone forever. I've missed you.
We miss you too, Hammer. No, it's good to see everybody, at least on the screen. I don't know. I don't know how you guys feel about this. I know that Larry David says you can't say Happy New Year past like the third day of the year. We're recording this on Friday, January the 9th. I'm going to break the rule and say Happy New Year because we haven't seen each other in person. And Happy New Year to all of our listeners and viewers too. We've missed spreading the good Preds word to all of you. But Max, it's great to be back.
It's great to be back. And Brooksy, we were with the Preds on the longest road trip of the season. 7 road games in total, 1 before Christmas, then 6 after Christmas. Preds came away with a 4-3 record in those 7 road games, came back home and beat the Islanders in a shootout on Thursday night. So Preds looking good right now, continuing to play well. They've won 7 of their last 10, 14 of their last 20. And the highlight of all of this, Steven Stamkos' 600th NHL goal, a monster moment in NHL and Smashville history on New Year's Eve afternoon against the Golden Knights in Las Vegas.
That was awesome. And Max, as you said, you and I were in the building, and I try to be ready for moments like that because obviously the game before we saw him get 598 and 599 in Utah in the third period, almost single-handedly bring the Preds back to get a win over the Mammoth. And we're in Las Vegas, as you said, and the Preds are going on the power play, and I thought to myself, gosh, this could be it. And my own little small, tiny little world, I'm like, gosh, if this happens, I'd love to put out a photo when I tweet about the goal being scored, and I'm looking for a photo, and I kid you not, and in the grand scheme of things, this does not matter, but I found a photo like 10 seconds before he actually scored. We got it just in time. I'm like, gosh, this is going to be coming. And Max, as somebody who was on the call for it, are you anticipating that he's in the circle? Like this could be coming right now? And what was that moment like for you?
Just trying to stay ready for it. I didn't script too much of a call and I didn't say exactly what I thought I would say, but I wanted to make sure I included something for Smashville in there because this is not only an NHL moment, but it's another, oh my God, Steven Stamkos is on the Nashville Predators moment. And for the players who the Preds have had, who haven't always been Preds, like Peter Forsberg, Paul Kariya, things like that, guys who are NHL legends, I want to make sure this is at the top of those moments, in addition to the moments from our homegrown heroes, Josi, Forsberg, Shea Weber, all those guys. So I was happy with my call. I was really happy with the goal. I mean, what a pass by Philip Forsberg across east to west to set it up. And Kara, Lindsay Rowley got the first interview with Stammer right after at the intermission, and it was so cool to hear him reflect with Lindsay.
Yeah, I thought it was such a special moment. And you talk about what he was saying to Lindsay, and then you go back and we watched the video of last night when they ran over like the 100 goal, 200 goal, all the marks. Did you hear his interview after his first 100 goals when he sounded almost like the exact same as 600 of, it's a really good moment. It's cool to celebrate with the teammates, but I hope I score a lot more. And it was almost like, Stammer, you're the same person and you've had 500 goals in between.
Only 22 players have ever scored that many goals in the NHL. Looking over your career, what does it mean to you to reach this milestone?
Yeah, it's pretty surreal. I mean, when you look at some of the names that are up there, it probably doesn't hit you till after, till you're all said and done and you look back, but it's just a lot of gratitude, like I said. I mean, your parents, your friends, your coaches, obviously my family, my wife, my kids, I know they're watching. It was a special moment. So and I'm sure my sister and my nephews are watching too. So it's just, all the friends and family and everyone that's got you to this point. That's what you think of in moments like this, and obviously your teammates.
Hey, 17 years, very little has changed other than the goal total for Steven Stamkos. And one of the most fun moments after every Preds win, in addition to the singing of Pizza Party by Mac and Cheese, is the awarding of what I like to call the post-game party favors, which are the player of the game prizes. And Steven Stamkos was thankful that the milestone came in a big Preds win.
Boys, this is great. It's always special to do it in a win. Anytime you get something really cool like this, you're just very thankful for each and every you, the coaching staff, all the players I played with, your family, everything. It's kind of a surreal moment, but it's always way more special to do it and win. We battled hard today. It was so cool to be out on the ice with you guys and have that moment. We've had a lot of momentum here this year. We've got to turn the page. It's a new year, so let's keep it going, and Happy New Year.
I loved that just because, he's right. The milestone doesn't mean as much if you lose the game. You can't celebrate it. And that's just what hockey's all about. Individual accolades pale in comparison to team milestones.
And the coolest thing about 600 goals is you get to have your kids come into the locker room and read the starting lineup.
Bunting! Cola! Daddy! Yay! Hey! Yay!
Blankenberg.
Yay!
Little Juice.
Little Juice!
Yay!
I mean, I think, Brooks, you put out the video. How special was that then to have Stammer's kids, and obviously the cuteness of them, both wearing Preds sweaters, both with the number 600 on the back, obviously as a little girl too, but the boys last night, they almost stole just as much of the show.
Yeah. No, they're so adorable. And so his sons, Carter and Chase, I imagine Carter's probably old enough that he'll remember it. I don't know if Chase is quite to that age. But yeah, we love a good, and I don't know about you guys. I didn't know that the lineup was happening. And so the lineup read rather with his sons coming into the locker room. And so, as the game started, our photos start coming in from the great John Russell, our team photographer. And we started seeing photos of the kids in the room. And I was like, oh, we are going to have one adorable lineup read coming in a little bit here. And props to our video team, too, who crushed it. Our video team and our social team in the game against the Islanders January 8th with Stammer being honored, crushed the content, getting things turned around, getting things out on social and video. And yeah, so cool for Carter and Chase to go in the room and read the lineup, and then to be on the ice, as you said, with their Stamkos jerseys. Usually they would say either Stamkos or Daddy. They said Stamkos. And you'd think 91, right? 600 was the number on the jerseys for Carter and Chase. And then they go over and have the ceremony pregame, and Barry Trotz and Sean Henry present Stamkos with a golden stick. Stamkos' parents are there, his wife, his daughter as well. Just, an amazing moment for the family. It's awesome for us to be able to watch. I can only imagine for them. And Stammer's been good too. He's had so many milestones recently, as you guys well know. And, he's had a good balance of it's obviously more important to get the wins, but I think he is, especially as he gets older, it seems as though he's appreciating these moments more and more as they come. And he's like, one day I'm really going to take a moment to look back and appreciate everything. But even in the moment itself, I think he is really taking, even if it's just a few seconds, just a chance to look around and say, this is pretty cool. And I think we all feel the same way. I continually say to people, it's just such, especially in this last little bit, it's such a privilege to be able to cover someone like Stamkos. Again, only the 22nd player in NHL history. There have been thousands and thousands of players in the history of the National Hockey League, and only 22 of them have hit 600 goals. And so just the chance to be around that and to cover it and to get to talk to him after games is just so cool. And so, it's been a great week. And you touched on it, Max, just the fact that he gets it, and then we come home from the trip, and he's honored here at the arena in front of the Smashville faithful. And that's one thing too, like, not that people didn't appreciate him before, but I think that, I've really started to notice lately when he's in the starting lineup or he gets recognized for a milestone, the cheers get a little bit louder. There's maybe a little bit more of a standing ovation, which has also been really cool to see, just how people in Nashville and the Predators fans continue to embrace him and his family, especially considering everything that he's been doing as of late.
18 seasons, 600 goals, and as Michael Bunting told us on Preds Radio last week, maybe a couple of frenemies made along the way for Steven Stamkos.
It's pretty funny. We always joke about it, but when I played in Toronto and he was in Tampa Bay, we did not like each other. We had some good rivalries and good playoff series, and now it's pretty funny. He's one of my closest friends on this team. He's great to be around. I like spending a lot of time with him, so it's funny how things can change when you become teammates. But yeah, he's a special player and a special human, and he's great to be around, and yeah.
I just thought that was so funny because that's also Michael Bunting to a T. We really didn't like each other. We'd never met before, and now we're best friends. I love hockey. That's hockey, Kara.
That's hockey.
That's hockey. I mean, I think we heard, like, we also saw the video put out where players around the league were congratulating him, some of his former teammates down in Tampa Bay. But, I think Factor said it best, like, hey, it's so much better to be on the ice with you now. Like, watching you score goals as your teammate versus watching you score goals as your opponent.
Well, you talk about that, Kara, and the video that you mentioned. There was another video too, of course, showing, goal 100, goal 200, goal 300. And I hadn't seen it yet, and I was like, oh gosh, I hope he's not scoring on the Predators in one of these. That'd be a fun little dynamic. He didn't get it against the any of his other milestones against Nashville. But yeah, that was cool to look back and see too. Like you mentioned it, Kara, his interview after was his 100th goal. He looks a lot younger, but other than that, kind of the same answer, kind of the same, that stoic mindset and mentality of, yes, this is cool, but like, let's keep going. And that's exactly what he's done.
Let's keep going. And as a team, and I think as we kind of like recap this road trip and everything that we've been on, we start to see it before you guys left, before the team left, the tightness starting to form. And there was some conversation around that. What is this group? How are they going to handle this long road trip? And I think now coming back, it was so evident in last night's win, as we record here on Friday, January 9th, that this is a tight-knit group. And Stammer talked about it, the closeness that they've had. And guys, how big of a win was that to come against the Islanders? You're tired, you're on the road. I think, Chris Mason and Hal Gill both texted, I can't imagine playing a game right now. I can't imagine putting on skates and going out on the ice and playing a game. And then they come out with a big 2 points in a shootout win.
Well, I think the fascinating thing, and Max, you heard it in the morning, I don't, and maybe he has, but I don't ever recall Andrew Brunette saying in the morning before the game, yeah, we're home after a 12-day trip, but we want to treat this like a road game. Mm-hmm. They had been gone for 12 days. We got in late on Wednesday afternoon, a little bit later than you'd expect. It was kind of like coming into town, and then you've got to play the next game, the next day on the road as well. And so he said, we don't want to fall into the trap game. We want to pay attention to the little details. We know it's going to be a mucky game, he said post-game, gritty, grindy, greasy, like you got to find a way to get it done. And they did. And I loved that mentality because, you might think, oh, thank goodness we're home. We're back in front of our crowd, sleep in our own beds. Just don't worry about it. But I loved that mentality and that mindset to come in, to think of it as another road game, just the way that things had played out. And that's another thing too, like, and you guys have seen it before too, like you never quite know what you're going to get after a long road trip. You always hear coaches say, we've been gone for so long, we're back at home, but yeah, I'm a little bit worried because you get into the routine of the road, you're in your hotel, you get on the bus, you go to the game. There's not, you're not at home, you don't have your family around, you're not dealing with other things. And so that was really good to come home with that effort. And what a stat right now. The Predators have not lost back-to-back games since November 22nd and 24th. That was something we talked about earlier in the season, is when you lose a game, can you bounce back? It's exactly what they've been doing over the last month and a half.
Well, everything has been backwards in a good way. You're playing a home game like a road game. You win a game with Nick Hague scoring in the final minute and Steven Stamkos blocking a shot in the final minute. I think that's supposed to be the other round.
Yeah,
right?
that's not how it's supposed
Hague
to
blocked the
happen.
shot, Stammer score the goal. But hey, it worked out on fight night in Calgary, and it's been a lot of fun to watch the Preds recently. So we got 3 games left on this homestand, 4 games in 6 days at Bridgestone Arena, starting with that shootout win over the Islanders. Blackhawks on Saturday night, Capitals on Sunday night. That'll be just the second time in Preds history that the all-time leading goal scorer in the NHL will be playing in Smashville. Wayne Gretzky came to us once. Now Ovi makes his first visit since breaking his record. And then Tuesday night, looking for a little revenge on the Oilers who beat the Preds last week in Edmonton. And also want everybody to know out there, the Preds did give away some posters for Steven Stamkos' milestone goal. For those of you who are not at the game on Thursday and did not get one, I've got a nice little stack of them. It's not an unlimited supply, but they are at the Jack Daniels Barrel House radio desk behind section 112. So come by while we still got them if you want one. I will try and save one for everyone out there. When we come back, the Preds are going to the Olympics.
Woo.
4 of them. We are excited. UC Saros, Eric Halla, Philip Forsberg, and Captain Roman Josi are going to Milan, Italy. Let's talk Preds in the Olympics coming up next, because the Olympics are less than a month away. You're listening to the Predators official podcast. I'm Max Herz with Kara Hammer and Brooks Bratten on ESPN 1025 The Game and NashvillePredators.com.
Welcome back to the Predators official podcast here on ESPN 1025 The Game, streaming on YouTube and a whole slew of other platforms. I'm Brooks Bratten, along with my friends Max Herz and Kara Hammer. There were so many Predators hockey games to talk about, but we're going to have some different ones to discuss in February. But it's worth mentioning right now because we now officially know that 4 members of the Nashville Predators will be headed to Milan, Italy to participate in the 2026 Winter Olympic Games. And they are Roman Josi, the captain. We assume he'll be the captain of Switzerland.
He better be.
He better be. Philip Forsberg of Sweden. And a pair of Finns, Finn to the left, Finn to the right, UC Saros and Eric Halla will be representing their home countries. Guys, this is really great. We've talked about it before, but the first time since 2014 that NHL players will be participating in the Winter Olympics. There is nothing better than international best-on-best hockey. We are so excited for this. The guys are so excited to go and skate for a gold medal. And congrats to those 4, because this is about as good as it gets. If you're an NHLer, yeah, you want to win a Stanley Cup, but to hear a hockey player tell it, to represent your country at the Olympic Games, doesn't get any better.
How much after we saw the 4 nations face off do we anticipate the level of hockey that we saw this time last year translate over? I mean, how are you guys feeling about that?
Well, if you thought there was no room in the neutral zone at 4 Nations, Kara, check out that rink in Italy, because we could lie down and touch both blue lines the way they're laying it out. So should be some hard-hitting action, at least between some of the good teams.
No, it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, you touched on it. We saw it last year in the 4 Nations. 4 faces nationing off. It was fantastic, though, and especially, I mean, we all know it. The battles between the United States and Canada. First, the game that they played each other, they ended up playing in the final as well. They will not play each other. I was looking at the schedule yesterday, so the Canada and the United States will not play each other in the preliminaries. They've got to make it to the playoff rounds, the final rounds, and then the gold medal game, the bronze medal game come on that final weekend. Hopefully we get Canada and the US at some point. But yeah, looking at the schedule the other day, and we'll have everything on Preds.com in the weeks ahead so you can follow along. But there's a couple early ones. Italy 6, 7, 8 hours ahead. So there's a couple 5. I do think that the Sweden-Finland game is at a 5 a.m. Central Time start. I don't remember the date off the top of my head. We'll get that to you as we get closer. But yeah, that'll be worth waking up for, definitely. And Max, you had a chance to talk to Eric Halla, I know, in Calgary, just about what this meant for him, and you had a really good conversation with him.
When and how did you officially find out, and who gives you the call to tell you that you are representing Finland at the Olympics?
It's actually Christmas morning. we were just like getting up and about to start opening the presents, and I got a phone call from the head coach of Finland, and I looked at my phone and I was a little anxious to answer it. Now looking back, I guess he wouldn't have called me on Christmas morning to tell me that I didn't make it, but yeah, I texted him back shortly and said we were in the middle of opening presents and if I could call him back in a little bit, and then obviously made the call, and what a relief it was, and yeah, honestly got me a little emotional as well.
Yeah, I love that answer. It's so funny looking back. Well, Coach Antti Pennanen wouldn't have called me on Christmas morning if I wasn't going to make the team, which is really funny in retrospect. But it's cool for Haula. Like, he's a 13-year veteran. He's played a lot of places. He hasn't won a Stanley Cup. This is the player you're talking about, Brooks. This is the honor of his career. His first year pro was the last time the NHL was in the Olympics. And I asked him if he thought he was close to making the Olympic roster that year. And he said, I don't even know. I was too worried about trying to stay in the NHL to even think about it. And then they're wiped out of the next few. They're not in the Olympics in 2018 or 2022. And now he finally gets the chance to be back there. So I'm really happy for Erik Haula. And look, this Finnish coach, Antti Pennanen, has a penchant for timing, because UC Saros also found out at a very cool moment, not Christmas morning. He found out over the summer because he was one of Finland's first 6 players that was announced way before the season. His wife got him tickets for his 30th birthday last summer to the Roland Garros final, the French Open tennis final. And he was sitting in the crowd at Alcaraz Center, a 5-set major championship final in Paris, when Antti Pennanen texted him and said, "You're going to be one of our first 6. So this coach has the best timing in the universe.
There you go.
We're not sure about Sweden's coach. I don't know. I don't know on that. Phil, I don't think Phil found out on Christmas morning, but Max, that's a good point. I think when it was announced that NHL players would be going to the Olympics and you look at the Nashville roster and say, okay, who could have a chance? You could probably look at it and say Josi, Saros, Forsberg, something catastrophic would need to happen for them not to be on the roster. But Haula was a guy on the bubble. You're not sure, maybe yes, maybe no, but he's had a really great season here. You know, that was something we talked about even over the summer, is that he wanted to come back here. He's had a relationship with Andrew Brunette previously as a coach, thought it'd be a good fit in Nashville. And, you know, a guy like that, if you're not having a good season, you're probably not getting named to the team. So kudos to Erik Haula and what he's been able to do here. And I wanted to mention too, Kara, just quickly on something that you touched on in the first segment about just the tightness of this group and the way that the team is playing together. And I think this plays into somebody like Erik Haula, who has just had a great season so far in the role that he plays. And I want to mention something that Andrew Brunette said in Calgary. We were talking about the shot block from Steven Stamkos and what that takes and what that means in that moment. And Andrew Brunette, who played over 1,000 games, has coached and been with a lot of teams, he said in Calgary that this team is as tight of a team that he's ever been around.
Yeah.
And that's saying something. And you know, you look at the guys going to the Olympics and how big of a role they play on this team. I just think that all intertwines. And I thought that was worth mentioning, that, you know, for a hockey coach who has been a hockey lifer, he's been around every facet of the game, for him to drop a line like that, I don't think it should be taken lightly. And you're seeing that in the way that these guys are performing individually and as a group, the tightness and the closeness of this team, and a 600 goal scorer like Steven Stamkos sacrificing the body to block a shot with a second left. I know we're talking about the Olympics, but I wanted to bring that up. And I think it's all intertwined, and the success individually translates to the success of a team. And then off of that come the individual accolades. And it's just been a great run, and so happy to see that those 4 guys are going to head over to Milan.
Yeah. This will also be an interesting time to see how the players are time management. You know, you still have a lot of hockey games to play here in January. Then you look at the month of February, they play just a couple games that first week. Then some of the players go and they play hockey. Other players may just be sitting on the beach. You know, like what's it going to be like when they come back to close out those last few games in February with all of that time off. So it kind of makes you wonder. We'll have to get with Bruno on this. What's the mindset? How are you managing these players as some prepare to keep playing, so they have that mindset of, all right, I'm playing hockey now, then I'm going to go to the Olympics. Other players, You know, we've seen it before. You start thinking about that. What SPF am I bringing on my vacation?
Well,
Don't get too far.
we know 2 dates that you will be saving during that Olympic break once the majority of the team is back. Wednesday night, February 18th, we have a Smashville Live. And Thursday night, February 19th, Nash Vegas Casino Night for the Preds Foundation at Bridgestone Arena. So that is the 2 most important dates during the Olympic break.
Of course.
Well, and February 18th is my birthday. So thank you,
It is.
Max, for...
Will you be hosting that Smashville Live with me on your birthday? I don't even know.
I will not be.
You're doing birthday things.
Maybe I'm just the one thinking about the vacation.
Oh,
That's not what you wanted to do on your birthday, Kara?
Hang out with me?
No, I think our boss, Bob Cole, I was like, hard no. That is a hard no.
Birthday hammer. No birthday hammer on Smashville Live. Well, excited for our guys in the Olympics. Going to be a lot of fun rooting for the American team, both women's and men's hockey. Hopefully the arena is done in time. And I do want to correct a common misnomer. The Olympics are in Milan, Italy, not Milan, Tennessee. A lot of people are confused by that. For our West Tennessee people, sorry, there's no rink at Milan High School as far as I know. So
wouldn't that be something, though?
Yeah. Yeah. Philip Forsberg will not be going to Milan, Tennessee for the Olympics, but I think he would fit in great there.
Were you watching that Netflix show about Paris where they got it confused of like Paris, France, and then the dating show goes to Paris, Texas? It sounds very similar to something I saw.
Well, Paris, Tennessee, and Milan, Tennessee aren't too far away from each other. So the possibility is there.
The culture is just off the charts.
Speaking of international competition, we had 7 Preds prospects in the World Juniors, the most of any NHL team. We'll tell you about Brooks's ginger friend who got the gold and also some other Preds who made marks along the way. This is the Predators official podcast on ESPN 102.5 The Game. Welcome back to the Predators official podcast here on ESPN 102.5 The Game, Nashville Predators YouTube, and your favorite podcast platforms. My name is Max Herz from Preds Radio with Kara Hammer from Preds TV and Brooks Bratten from NashvillePredators.com. The World Juniors have come and gone. It's always fun to get to watch them in Canada, where the tournament is basically March Madness. I hope at some point it will be as popular in the U.S. as it is in Canada because it's an awesome way to follow the next wave of NHLers. And the Preds were a big part of it this year with a league-high 7 players in World Juniors. Sweden got the gold. Predators had a defenseman, Viggo Gustafsson, a prospect, part of the gold medal team. They got first place with a win over the Czechs in the finals. Canada got the bronze. USA did not medal. We had a lot of standout individual performances, though, Brooksy, from a lot of Preds prospects at various points throughout the tournament.
Yeah, you mentioned it. It was a really fun time to be in Canada because, like you said, it is such a big deal, especially for the Canadian national team. And yeah, a lot of Preds making their mark. So one that sticks out to me was, as you said, unfortunately, the United States did not medal, but they had a chance to advance in overtime because of a game-tying goal from Riker Lee in that final game. It was based in Minnesota at the home of the Wild, actually. So the place went crazy, as you can imagine, all the U.S. hockey fans. But Riker Lee with a huge goal there. Teddy Stiga's World Junior career comes to an end. You may remember he had the golden goal last year for the United States, but he had a couple of points as well. But I think the standout and the name that everybody will recognize certainly most recently is Brady Martin. And he had a great showing for Team Canada. He scored 4 goals and unfortunately got hurt in the second to last game, so he did not play in the bronze medal game. They were still able to win bronze, but Brady Martin looked great. And Jack Ivankovic, the goaltender the Predators drafted in the second round of this past year's draft, he actually got in some good action. We weren't sure, in a tournament like that, you've got 3 goaltenders. Weren't sure how much action he was going to see. He actually got a couple of wins, had a really good save percentage, some good goals against. And so just a great showing for him to be able to play in some of those high pressure situations. That was really good to see. Cam Reed, the defenseman, also with Canada as well. And then Daniel Nieminen, who skated for Finland, the defenseman. recent Preds draft pick. And yeah, you mentioned that Viggo Gustafsson unfortunately didn't actually play a ton for Sweden. He was in a suit and tie receiving his gold medal. But you're right, he's got that great red hair. And so we love to see a ginger having success. And I'm like, even though he didn't play, you still get a gold medal. You don't have to play in the gold medal game to receive it. So good for Gustafsson. But I think the biggest thing that comes from the World Junior, as you touched on it, Max, 7 prospects for the Predators skating in this tournament. There were a few teams that didn't have anybody, which is kind of mind-blowing to me, that of all of the countries, all the draft picks, that there are some teams that don't even have a single player. And I think, over the years past, you've heard people like David Poyle, like Barry Trotz talk about restocking the cupboard. The Preds have done a pretty good job of that. And a tournament like this is very telling of what your prospect pool looks like. So for the fact that the Preds had 7 guys there, that's great news for the future of the organization, that, these countries are saying, the best players in our country, some of them are Preds draft picks, and those are the guys that we want out there competing for a gold medal. And it's great experience too. Like, as a 19, 20, 18-year-old, 20-year-old kid, to be able to play in an international outlet like that, to compete for a gold medal for your country, those games aren't nothing. That plays a role in your career development. And so to get that experience, nothing bad can come of that.
And 5 of those players who you mentioned are underagers who can play in the tournament again next year, including 4 of the Preds' first 5 picks from this draft. Brady Martin, the headliner, and Kara, it was very fun to follow Brady Martin's pregame eating habits during this tournament. He says he always eats Tim Hortons before every game in juniors. He had trouble getting Tim Hortons in Minnesota. So the big news is Brady Martin's both Americanization and Southernization are on schedule, because he replaced his Tim Hortons with pregame Chick-fil-A at World Juniors.
Well, let's just hope they don't play on Sundays.
Well done. Well said, Kara.
Well, it was fun to watch all these guys. We didn't mention Cam Reed, who was on the top D pair for Team Canada. He was making, in a good way, absolutely no headlines, playing alongside Flames prospect Zane Parekh, who was making many headlines. Not always in a good way, but he did score a lot of points. But it was fun to watch the World Juniors. Preds are in good shape with these guys, and they're guys that we're looking forward to seeing again at development camp in Smashville this summer, then maybe at training camp next year, especially for a guy like Brady Martin. He will have a shot to make the team in 2026. When we come back, we have a long overdue to Big E to give out. We haven't been on the air for a while. We have not been on the air since we lost our friend and role model, Sheila Crisp. So we are going to remember her coming up next year on the Predators official podcast. Welcome back to the Predators official podcast, our first episode of 2026 here on ESPN 1025 The Game, NashvillePredators.com, and your favorite podcast platform. Thanks for hanging out with us. Let's have a great year of hockey. My name is Max Herz from Preds Radio, joined by Kara Hammer from Preds TV and Brooks Bratten from NashvillePredators.com. Guys, at this point in the show, we always give out the Big E, our awesome person of the week, in memory of our friend Aaron Donick, who we lost to lung cancer last summer. And since we last recorded, we also lost another member of our Preds broadcast team who we love so much. That was Sheila Crisp, who died at the age of 82 a couple weeks ago on December the 17th. And there is no doubt that Sheila is our Big E. She is the best. Her and Aaron fought hand in hand, arms linked, as they both battled cancer together. And Sheila was Aaron's biggest fan. And well, the thing we can take solace in about losing Sheila is that she died so comfortably holding Terry's hand with all 3 of her kids together in hospice care in Nashville. And the Chris family is the one who is getting the Big E altogether, not just Sheila, because Kara, they have made this almost a happy occasion. And they went on vacation together for Christmas in Arizona, because Sheila said, first she said, "I'm going." And then when she knew she wasn't going to make it, she said, "You guys are all going, and I'm not going to be there, but you're still going." So the Chris family is just a bunch of beautiful souls, which everybody already knows. But it's been almost 3 weeks now, and it still hasn't really hit us.
Yeah, I've been on a group chat with our broadcast team and the Chris family, and you talk about them going to Arizona, and Tony, Jeff, and Kaylee all send us a collective message and a group photo of them all together in Arizona with Crispy. And it was, our first broadcast back where we were all sharing special moments of Sheila and what she has meant to us. And they just said, we were watching, we were listening, we were hugging, we were crying. They were like, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you. And, it's hard because I love Sheila Crisp. She was, as much as we love Crispy, Sheila was the matriarch of the family. And she just means so much to me. I'm just still very saddened by it and miss her. Just love the Crisp family.
I love that we got her reading the lineup a couple of months ago. And, you may remember we talked about it on the show, UC Saros and his mask for Hockey Fights Cancer Night. And Sheila was one of the 4 on there. We talked about Aaron Donig, of course, and Craig Partnerbaugh and Lexi Rogers, the daughter of Preds equipment manager Pete Rogers, as the 4 who were on the mask. But seeing Sheila on there and then getting to see her in the room. And, I watched that video so many times after she passed. And, she was just so full of life. And I think that's what makes it kind of hard to believe is that video was only a couple of months ago. Again, it was not, this wasn't like it was years ago that she was waltzing in there and dancing in there and getting the guys going. And, but yeah, she was just such a lovely lady. I think the thing that, and I posted this as well shortly after her passing, but the thing that always stuck out to me, and Crispy essentially said this when we interviewed him and Pete on this show a couple of months ago as well, before they were inducted into the Golden Hall, is that any time that you would ask Crispy, what is the key? Again, another hockey lifer. He played, he coached, he broadcasted, he did just about anything there is to do in the game. And you ask him what the key is for being able to last this long in a game that can be very unforgiving, in a profession that can be unforgiving. And his first answer and the only answer was always, you find a good woman and you love her and you keep her and she'll be by your side. And that's how you get through everything. And that's who you enjoy the highs and the lows and everything that comes with a life in hockey.
Yeah.
And Sheila was that for him. And I always love the photos of them when Crispy won the cup as a player with the Flyers in the 70s. They're so sweet and they're so young, and their photos with the cup, and and then you see the photos from Calgary where he was the coach, and then of course she was around obviously as a broadcaster with him here, and again, just such a wonderful, sweet, loving, kind, lovely lady. And as you guys both said, we miss her dearly. It's, part of it hasn't sunk in. You're kind of expecting her to walk around the corner one day. And we wish that was the case, but we love her. We love Crispy. We love the whole family. And, Max, you mentioned it as well. Like, we were just in Calgary, and you always see some of the Crisps when we're in Calgary, but Crispy's a legend up there. And Sheila played an equal role in getting some of those banners up in the rafter at the Saddle Dome.
Yeah, it was fitting that we were there when we were. It was Saturday night, January 3rd. The 4th would have been Sheila's 83rd birthday, and 7 of the 10 Crisp grandkids were there with tons of their friends in a big suite, and they were making noise, of course. They were riling everybody up, and I mean, you look at the Saddle Dome, which is the last old arena untouched remaining in the NHL. It's almost gone. They've only got one more season left there. And they hang all the banners off of like big pipes that hang from the ceiling. Like, it's real old school barn style. And when you look at the Flames side, the Calgary Hitmen have a side. The junior team has a lot of banners. When you look at the Flames side, there would be significantly more pipe visible if it weren't for the Crisp family. And all of those honors, 1989 is the cup year, but the late 80s, the early 90s, and that is all because of the Crisps, Kara. And that's just as much Sheila as it is Crispy, and they love her there.
I think one of the things about Sheila, and we heard it from a lot of the players, Phil Forsberg even talked about it, how she saw Phil's parents and Sheila beeline to them. She just welcomed everybody, and I think we've all had that sentiment from day one. Sheila made you feel like you were a part of the family. And my story of her is, her and Aaron Donig teamed up to host my baby shower. So special to have these 2 women in my lives. And When my daughter was born, I texted Sheila because, you can't text Crispy on the tick. So I had to text Sheila to let her know, hey, we'd had a baby. This is what we named her. And she wrote back and said, one day after she was born May 29th. So one day after Crispy's birthday, but born on Terry and Sheila's wedding anniversary. So I'm so fortunate to know that each year that Remy celebrates another birthday, I'll get to think about Terry and Sheila and their wonderful 60 years of marriage that they were able to share with each other.
Amazing. Really well said from both of you. And yeah, just for me, again, every time you get a chance to talk to her and see her, she was just so wonderful. And, to me and my wife, we didn't have a ton of interaction with her over the years, but she'd only met my wife a couple of times, and my wife does some embroidery on the side. And she actually ran into my wife at a store when she was doing it during COVID. For a day, she was kind of a guest in a store, and Sheila was like, oh yes, I have to let you do something and I want you to do more. And years later, she was like, oh, can you do something for me again? Like, just, you wouldn't expect. We had this brief encounter, this brief conversation, but you mentioned it, Kara, like she made everybody feel like they were a part of the family. And no matter if you've known her for 30 years or you met her for 30 seconds, she was probably going to remember you if she saw you again. And not only that, but she would have a smile and a hug and a kind word for you. And she's just a wonderful person, and we're going to miss her dearly.
Nice. That's a good biggie for the week to start the year. That might be the biggie of the year already here on episode 1 of 2026. We love you, Sheila. We love all those crisps. And we hope we don't lose anyone else from our Preds family. We've lost too many. We've had too much sadness, especially from our broadcast team and those that we love this year. So thinking of you guys, we are all family, and that goes for all of you listening in Smashville as well. I hope you feel it just like we do. That's all we got for this week. Preds home games coming up this weekend, Blackhawks, Capitals, and Oilers. Then we will be back with you along the way next week before games in Denver and Las Vegas back-to-back next weekend. We do have an episode of Smashville Live coming up on Wednesday, January 14th. Kara will be with me. It is not her birthday, so she is available to host with me and hang out. Wednesday night, January 14th from 6 to 7, we will be at Brewhouse South in the Cool Springs Galleria on 102.5 The Game. Our guests are scheduled to be Preds rookies, Ozzy Weisblatt and Reed Schaefer. So we hope to see you there, and we hope to see you in Smashville for Dirks Bentley bobblehead night Tuesday and a whole lot more fun along the way. For Brooks Bratten, Kara Hammer, Nate Baker, and our entire team, my name is Max Hers. Thanks for listening to the Predators official podcast on Nashville Predators YouTube and ESPN 102.5 The Game.